Service Report?
Yes, I'm going to stand. You've gotten my written report. What you see in front of you is a right-to-know request that was made by a non-resident of this district to the Lehighton School District, which we granted. Everything has been talked about as a right to know and lack of transparency, but it's what the person asked for. They got everything except for 168 items that had to be redacted. Now, when you look at this stack, you have reams and reams and reams. You have approximately 7,000 pages of documents, and you had to find 168 pages in that to redact. So we didn't reveal student names, that we didn't reveal health information, that we didn't reveal teacher discipline or anything of that nature, or administrative discipline. I thought the public would like to see what we do produce in this district. You know, you hear that this isn't being produced, this isn't being produced, this is one that we produce. This was done in 8 days, 8 business days. It was gathered and put together. The problem that we're running into, and I know Ms. Mahalik has talked about redaction software, but when we talk about redaction software, we also have to look at how the district maintains documents. We are not a paperless district, so everything has to be found, or most of it, in a paper file. It has to be researched. Sometimes it can be misfiled. It'll turn up eventually, but right now it may be misfiled. You have things that come into this district in paper that are not scanned, so we have it. We have a problem with the email service right now. It's done by the IU. They will produce emails for Outlook. Now, most of the time, we don't have an Outlook program that will generate the Outlook in the PDF. So you have to print the Outlook, then it can be put into PDF, then it can be redacted. It's a very cumbersome process, but this is a typical thing. Now, for all these documents, the district got paid less than $2 under the right to know law. So it's basically so you can visualize what the district regularly produces in right to know. You always hear where we turn something down. Well, this is one where we granted everything, about 168 items, and they had to be redacted.
So, Bill, why wasn't this refused, under the same reason?
Because there is nothing in there that would have given us, he was very specific, he gave certain information. There was no reason to deny it.
Okay.
I mean, it's simple as that.
Right, you removed 168 documents.
Right, well, we didn't remove, we redacted.
We did that.
But it took reviewing everything.
Sure.
Okay, why wasn't it refused? If it's a specific request, limited time frame, limited who's involved, it's not I want everything that the district has. That's difficult. I want every email for the last 4 years that have the word committee in it. It's an impossible task. We don't have the ability to do that. The IU can't do the search for us for that. I mean, in this case, everything was specific. We're going to grant it. I think, and Mr. Cleaver can probably, or Mr. Fike can advise you specifically, but I believe the district is granting close to 95% of all right-to-know requests. It's the exception that's not, and they are just too broad. But I thought when we had this, and this was our most recent request, it might be something you want to see. So you have a visual on what the district does do. And the problems, the district doesn't have software for redaction. Even if it did, because of how the IU keeps it, we still have to print it into a PDF to redact. So it's a 2 or 3 step process.
Yes, sir. Mr. Schwab, the right to know request you mentioned was from a non-resident, correct?
Yes,
Of the district.
yes.
Does the location of any right to know requester matter as long as they're a resident of the United States?
No, they can be a resident of Florida. We get right to know requests regularly from Florida for tax information. That's a standard. I brought it so that the public has an idea that for less than $2, you're subsidizing this as a taxpayer.
So,
under the current right to know law.
correct. And the number of records that they request is also irrelevant?
No, that is not the case. Judge Nanovic has basically said he has to weigh it.
Okay. And of the 168 items that got redacted, all of those documents were printed out first so that they could go through the redaction?
Some of them were originally paper. For example, everything up here dealing with all your litigation. These are your, when you say your litigation, that's this stack. That was never paperless.
Okay. But the rest of it, I mean, we don't have, how many typewriters does our district have? I mean, almost all of it's electronic, correct?
No.
State forms are still typewriters. I'm amazed.
There's a couple things that are
typewriters
typewriters.
here in the administration office.
But the bulk of them are already electronic.
No.
No, your bills are
No.
electronic, they come in paper in the mail.
And are any of those bills?
I don't believe he asked for that.
Right.
But I'm just, so you have an idea. You know, this is...
And once that's granted as a right to know request, all of those records that were already deemed public, presumed public under the right to know law, and are now public, will the district publish them again so that we never have to do this work twice?
I am not your administration. That's an administrative decision, how much, how do I say, hard disk space, if they had indexing software. I have no idea. That's beyond my...
But the law says, once that's public for one person, it's public for all.
Oh, yeah.
And the work to do it has already been done.
Well, some of it, yes, but we still have to go back and see the time frame. Things may have to be pulled out. Things may have to be added. It's not...
But if it's made public originally, before the guy even requests it, there would be no cost.
No.
And what is our problem with the email from the IU?
The IU keeps their email under Outlook. It's in an Outlook format. And if you want to use, as Ms. Mahalik says, go into an Adobe Acrobat, we have to have it converted. To convert it, we have to print it.
What makes you think you have to print an
That's
email to make it into an Adobe Acrobat?
Well, that's what our IU says. In order to get an individual Outlook email, they have to put it into print.
So when you say print, you mean not print to a printer? You say you got to print it to a printer?
I can't tell you. They printed it in the paper. I am not your IT person. I am not your IT department. They're the ones that gave us the paper.
I believe what you're relating to, being that I'm only 50-something, kind of know how email works. They're printing the email to a PDF file, not to a physical printer. Is that what they told you?
No, that's not what they did. In order for them, since we don't own an Adobe Acrobat license that allows editing, they had to print it to paper.
But if we had that very inexpensive software, it would be printed to a PDF through the computer system, not to a physical inkjet printer, and then therefore able to be electronically redacted. Correct?
I would have not the foggiest ideas beyond my capabilities. You got to talk to Marcus. He is your IT director.
Is he here today?
I think he's on family medical leave yet.
He's not here.
Mr. Cleaver,
Yes.
are these emails being printed to a physical printer, or are they being printed to a PDF file?
I get the information from the IU and go through the process that way. Thank you.
So which one is it? Are they being printed to a... Answer the question, sir, please.
Again,
Is it printed to a file or printed to a printer?
I'm not sure.
For this one here, it was printed to a printer. I can tell you that because this is what we got.
Melissa?
I don't do right to knows.
Well, I'm just asking, do you have the ability to print to a
Nope.
printer or just to a file?
I don't work for the IU either.
I understand it, but I mean, when we send you things, you put them onto a PDF, correct? If someone wants a printed email, a copy of an email,
If you send me an email, I print it out.
physically print it,
Physically.
and then you physically scan it,
Correct.
rather than print it to a PDF?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's all I have. I just wanted the public to see what we do, Grant.